We'll spend a moment in silence and invoke the presence of the Supreme Being. So welcome all of you once again. And we are here with the episode 10A, and it's the brand new art, the art of learning and teaching. In Hindi, we say Seekhna and Sikhana, uski kala. So all of us know about this art that entire life we keep learning and teaching as well others from our experience. And belonging to the Spiritual University of Brahma Kumaris, that's World Spiritual University, we are spiritual students always. So learning all the time, and in that process, teaching as well. So I'll stop sharing the screen, and we have our eloquent speaker today with us, Sister Aruna Ladwa, all the way from Oxford, UK. Welcome, Sister Aruna. Thank you for sharing your expertise and time with us, because it's been a long time we haven't had a chance to listen to you. And just a very brief introduction as we speak about Sister Aruna. Currently, she is one of the main coordinating team at the GRC Global Retreat Center in Oxford, UK. And she basically has began her spiritual journey at a very young age, at the age of 8. And it's more than 40 years now that she's been practicing meditation. A beautiful blend of Eastern and Western cultures, born in Kenya and grew up in Canada, educated in England and then worked in Canada as well. And just to give you a brief glimpse of her spiritual journey, she's instrumental in opening up various centers, namely in Vancouver, Canada, where all of us are from here, partly the team from there, Istanbul in Turkey, Manama in Bahrain, and also Kuwait City, which was one of her last service areas. She's a very well-known author, and she's got 8 books. All of you are aware of this. All of them start with "It's Time." So to name a few, it's time for relationships, it's time for change, so on and so forth. And she's also an active blogger since February 2010. And she says Dadi Janki has inspired her to do that. And she's also received the prestigious award, the Women of Excellence Award from the Yoga Federation of India in November 2014. So with this brief introduction, I would request the Vancouver team to please welcome her. Over to the Vancouver team. Thank you.
Om Shanti, Aruna.
Om Shanti.
So welcome to this program today. For me, it's an honor to introduce you to this program today, because you have that art of learning and teaching. I saw you so many books you have that you read, so many. And even when we left Vancouver, you have so many books left behind because you read so much. And I know you. You are a good reader and a good teacher too. So we all are going to get lots from you today, I'm sure. And all of those who are not today, later when they watch, they are going to be also be able to learn more with you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
away from São Paulo, Brazil.
Yeah, Sister Claudia is in São Paulo, Brazil, and the flowers coming all the way from Vancouver to you, Sister Aruna. Welcome to our program. We are looking forward. You received it. I'm sure all are listening. There is some birds chirping that's coming from São Paulo, Brazil. Okay.
It's amazing. We're all in different corners of the world. It's amazing. So thank you for having me. Thank you. Shall I begin?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Sister Claudia, I know that your battery's running out, so all the best there. Say hello, Sister Maureen and Sister Jenti. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, welcome to everybody else. And yeah, when I was, I think, given a choice of topics, and so I kind of picked this one because I thought it's easy, easy to talk about. But as I delved in it more, I realized that I learned so much more. So again, it proves the fact that it's, so good to keep learning, to keep growing, to keep seeing things in a different perspective. So I'm going to be presenting this because it's just easier, I think, on platforms like this. Otherwise, yeah, you're seeing a lot of black screens. So my point here is that it really is an art to learn and to teach. But teaching, I'm going to focus on very little, and I'll tell you why when I get to that point. But I will begin by saying that the life is a school. And 1 second, yeah. So life is a school, and it's a lifelong learning, actually. And I think the moment we accept that everything that we're doing, everything that's happening to us is in fact a school, it's an education. And when I set my mindset to that, then I do grow. I learn a lesson, so to speak. And so the mindset, the attitude has to be that really everything that's happening to me is there to make me wiser, stronger, more powerful, especially in spiritual language. It's going to enable me to become more enlightened, to become more awakened. So when I say life is a school, we graduate from this school, because I always say that if you don't get an exam, if you don't then pass the exam, then you don't get the certificate. And if you don't get the certificate, you don't graduate. So anything that comes in the form of a challenge is good, because it's coming to show me where I'm at. Life is a school means also it keeps us humble, right? Because that means I don't know everything. And so anything that's happening, it's there to keep my ego at bay. Life is a school. It helps us to excel, to perfect ourselves. So, okay, I didn't get it right this time, but then I've got another opportunity to grow. And so we're always perfecting ourselves. So failure is not a punishment. Failure is an opportunity to grow. And so this is where then I stay curious, because then I say to myself, okay, I wonder what's the next lesson? What's the next lesson? And so in this way, really, it's fun. It's a joy, like we did at school. We enjoyed playing. We enjoyed learning. Now, the important thing is to stay relevant to the world, right? And what I mean by that is to stay adaptable. And there are so many companies in the world that did not adapt to the changes that were happening. And some of them were like Nokia, BlackBerry, Kodak, Sears, Xerox, right? These companies that were maybe for some of us big companies as we were growing, famous companies. Even now we say, I want a Xerox, right? It's like, I want a copy. So they were so kind of embedded in our language, but they died, so to speak. They perished. And the reason why they perished was because they didn't have the ability to stay connected to what's relevant in this current moment. And so Alvin Toffler is a quite renowned guy, and he explored how knowledge, wealth, and force shape power. And he was the one who termed the coin information overload. He termed the coin power shift, right? So he wrote that, this is his quote, that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And as I mentioned, it's relevant to the companies that I just talked about. So just a bit more about him. So basically, yeah, he's an American writer, social theorist. And so he's best known for predicting how rapid technological and societal changes impact individuals, organizations, and cultures. So he talks about all these things: continuous learning, adaptation, the psychological effect of change. And actually his work is taken, right? They've taken his work on board and helped companies to transform because they realize the need to adapt and to change. So anyway, if you want to learn more about him and his theory, then I've just given you his reference. So I want to ask you, what would be your motivation to learn? So just take a moment to think about this. What would be your motivation to learn? Why would you want to learn? And so whatever's the first answer that comes to your mind, and you don't have to tell me, but I'll tell you what's my motivation to learn, and that is self-respect. I think above everything else, not just the fact that I enjoy learning, but I think it's about respecting myself. Because if I'm not learning, if I'm not growing, then what does that mean? That means that I'm at a standstill. And if I'm at a standstill and time is passing, then at some point I'm going to be left behind. So here, left behind means that I'm not learning the life's lessons or challenges that are coming to me. Either I'm ignoring them or I'm pushing them under the carpet. So what does that mean? That means that I'm not spiritually growing. I'm not accepting. I'm not embracing. And so what does that mean? I'll have a fixed mindset. My life and my world will be very limited. And because of that, I'll have a very limited perspective. So then that may make me judge people, may make me judge situations. So here, self-respect is about really respecting myself so that then I'm able to respect others. I really want to know, and part of all this movement around all these different countries was a huge learning about different cultures. And especially when you leave England to go somewhere, you think that whatever you do in England is the right way to do it. But it's not. But that's how you grow up, because that's what the mindset is here, right? That's the British mindset. And so when you go to different parts of the world and you see they do equally well, they're equally successful, but they do things in a different way. And then you start adapting the best from every culture. And it all works, all the countries and many others that I visited, it amazes me. Like, it amazes me how Cairo functions. It's incredible. Huge, huge city with millions of people. And how does it function? It just does, right? So then we take the best from what is, there. So basically, I don't want to stay stuck in ignorance because I know I can learn. I don't want to be stuck in fear. I want to have the courage. I want to not be limited. I want to grow. So these are the reasons why you would cultivate this sense of, okay, let me learn, let me stop to look and learn what life is teaching me. So I'm going to just run through a few of these slides. It's all about learning and how learning makes our life easier and not harder. So we resist learning, but I want to emphasize that learning, the last point, is not extra work. It's actually an investment that saves time later, right? Saves effort later. So when you learn how to do something, whether it's cooking or organizing, managing, whatever, you get better and better at it. So here we are, you solve problems faster, you make fewer mistakes, you feel more in control of your life. And because you learn new skills, you reduce frustration. So when I learn, I'm actually making my life easier. So again, it's a bit like that example of stop to sharpen the saw. The man was cutting the tree and he was taking forever, and somebody passing said, "Why don't you stop to sharpen your saw?" And he said, no, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. But if he just took out 10 minutes to sharpen the saw, he would probably cut the tree in no time. But we don't stop to learn because we think to stop and not learn is more difficult. But actually, it's easier to learn, and then it's easier to make our life more easy. Okay, learning keeps your brain alive. And some of you may be doing this already, but you know, when you take puzzles, Sudoku, Wordle, things like this, what are you doing? Like, what's the joy of all that? The joy is of, you know, taking time to sharpen the memory or increase creativity. It's exercising the muscle in your brain, let's say. And when you do that, right, it keeps the mind young. What does that mean? That means there's less boredom, there's less, again, frustration, and you're always looking forward to the next one, right? You're always looking forward to the next puzzle or next challenge. So, as I said, yeah, be mindful that as you're learning new things, and make a point of seeing what is it that I could learn. Like I remember the days when I didn't even know how to change the fuse in a plug. And it was so easy once I saw my brother doing it. It was so easy. And I thought, why is this always a boy's job? You know, I can do it. So once you see and you register, you learn, then yeah, next time you won't be without a light bulb or light. Learning increases confidence, right? So again, you know, when you know more about yourself, when you understand what's happening in the world, then you feel less intimidated. When you know why this happens, when you know why, you know, this works, then you begin to trust yourself more. So you're less afraid of challenges. So just think about all the skills that you have acquired, whether consciously or unconsciously. And I'm not just talking about your certificates, school certificates or, you know, diplomas, etc. I'm thinking about the unspoken things that you've learned. Maybe to stop and listen to someone. Maybe to just be a little patient when some things are happening. Like trusting yourself, when to speak, when not to speak. Right? All these things, then they build this inner confidence that make you more empowered, right? Empowered and empowered. So learning gives you freedom, right? We know this, that at any time with your learning, you can change careers, earn more, start a business, solve problems, instead of depending on others. So the more knowledge you have, the more options you have. And the more options you have, the more freedom you have. So there's another slide here. Anyway, we'll come to it. But how you carry that learning with you. So yeah, as I was saying, learning helps you to understand yourself, right? And here I'm particularly meaning what triggers you. What you're really good at or what you're not good at. But doesn't mean because you're not good at it, you don't attempt. Right? You got to be careful of that. You can't say, I don't know, and therefore I'm not going to do it. I think we know what we can't do, so we can take on the challenge to learn, to want to learn, and to do it despite the fear. So yeah, learning is a kind of self-discovery as well. So this is the point I meant, that yeah, when you learn something, and this is what I always used to say, that I want to have a skill that travels with me. And I guess in a subtle way, I've made that happen because, you know, when I share knowledge or when I write, then it's not dependent on anyone or any company or any job. So when it's your own talent, then you can't lose because wherever you go, you're carrying that learning with you. So that's why learning is the safest superpower. And then next point, learning makes you a better teacher. So you can't teach what you haven't learned, right? Think about it. You can't teach what you haven't learned, at least to even understand it. And so the more you learn, the more you can help others to grow. So we'll talk more about that when we come to teaching. So I want to ask you a question. Again, think about this, yeah? What did you learn today? So just take a moment to think, what could you say is something that I learned today? So I'll tell you what I learned today, and then I'll tell you what I learned recently. So what I learned today was that I'd said something in jest, right, as a joke. And then it was taken seriously by somebody. So what did I learn? I learned to keep my mouth shut. I learned that you can't make jokes because even that could be misconstrued. So this was, let's say, today's learning, okay? But here now I want to give you an example of why learning is so important. So about 2 weeks ago, I gave another talk on the power of gratitude in the Middle East. And as I was reading up about it and as I was thinking about it, I really learned a very powerful lesson. So the lesson about constantly having the attitude of gratitude is that every time we appreciate something or are grateful for something, then we're repeating that thought, which becomes like a groove in the brain. Right? So that thought of gratitude is a powerful thought that when practiced creates a new neural pathway. So in our language, we would say it's like a new habit. And so over time, the brain becomes wired to notice blessings and not problems. Yeah, did you know that? So gratitude doesn't just make you feel good, it changes your brain to stay good. Because once you get onto that neural pathway, you then are always looking for that good. So you're getting into the habit of seeing what is good. So here's a couple of studies that I just want to share with you again, something I learned about gratitude. So this was by Harvard Medical School. And they did a study that found that people who wrote about things that they were grateful for once a week, only once a week, for 10 weeks, were more optimistic, felt better about their lives, reported fewer physical complaints compared to those who wrote about irritation and problems. Right? So just think about it once a week. And with our meditations, we are trying to do this every single day. In fact, morning and night, we are trying to practice being grateful for the things we have. So what are the neural pathways that are being created in our brain? Think about it. And here's another study. And this was by Dr. Robert Emmons, who's considered the world's leading scientific expert on gratitude. And so his study showed that participants who practiced gratitude for just 3 weeks, right? So this is what they experienced. 25% more happiness, better and longer sleep quality, decreased anxiety, stronger immune system, lowered blood pressure, deeper and more satisfying relationships. That's just one thing, right? So this is what I'm saying. Imagine if we learned something new every day and really practiced it. Like it would show these kinds of results in us. And that's what we want, a better soul, a better body. So yeah, how to learn? How to learn? So the first thing I would say is attention, right? Even if you look at school, who are the children that learn the best or the most? And that is those who pay attention. And that's why the teacher says, pay attention. So now the point is that we don't have infinite amount of attention. And so Daniel Kahneman, I think that's how you pronounce it. So he wrote a book in 1973. And so he was saying that, so his book is Attention and Effort. He was saying that basically when we are paying attention, it requires a very high mental energy. And this energy is limited. So he actually was saying that there's the myth, this is the myth of multitasking, that we cannot do more than one thing at a time. Because every time you go to do one thing and another, you're losing attention span. And so therefore you cannot retain that information or let's say that aptitude when you're doing it. And so he's saying, but every time we do pay attention and put in the effort, then what's happening is that, again, as I was saying about the gratitude, new neural connections are being made. And so again, it's worth the effort to put in the attention, because then you get better and you get successful at what you're doing. Okay? And because it's high effort, yeah, people avoid making the effort because attention takes mental energy. But the mental energy is what? It's creating a new neural pathway. So again, if you could see it like this, that hang on a minute, I'm finding this difficult right now. I'm finding attention difficult because I'm having to create a new neural pathway or connection. If you see it like that, then you say, okay, but you know what? If I do it a few times, I'll get better at it. It will get easier. And so, yeah, as he's saying, right, learning requires focused cognitive effort. So in order to learn anything, right, just whatever it is, 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever you're going to give to it, give it focused attention. And so what I want to say about this is, in Hindi, we say that meditation is dhyan, right? Meditation is dhyan. And dhyan also means attention. So in a sense, when I'm meditating, I'm giving my full focus to that. And what we are being encouraged to do on a spiritual path is we're encouraged to take our meditative mind and put it to action. So take that focus, because again, we practice open eye meditation as well for this reason, that I'm able to carry away that mindset and I'm able to focus it on what I need to do. And so, as I said, if I could just do that for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever I dedicate, then really there'll be more results and then I'll be happier for it. And it will get easier with time. Emotion, right? So again, as I was studying this subject, I realized that they're saying that anything that you feel emotional about in your learning is that which stays with you, is that which sticks with you. So for example, which of the events or situations actually stayed with you? It's those that were memorable. And why were they memorable? Because they evoked some kind of emotion in you. So, okay, let's say it could be negative or positive. So like for children, maybe some praise, right? Maybe some embarrassment, maybe some shame. Could be anything. Why does that stay? Why does that stick? Because what is happening is the brain, right, says, hang on a minute, this must be important because you've just been emotional about it. Okay, so let me read that. The brain is not designed to remember everything. It remembers what matters. And how does it decide that? Through emotion. When something matters to us emotionally, the brain treats it as important and locks it in. Emotion acts as a signal that something matters. And so the brain stores it more deeply and for longer. Right? So as I've put there, when emotion fires, then memory wires. So this is not I've got it from the internet. This is not my quote, but it's out there, right? I've heard it before as well. When emotion fires, when you get passionate, emotional about something, it sticks. So the point being that, yeah, whatever we do, make it meaningful, make it relevant, make it emotionally engaging. And so back to the teaching aspect. Yeah, when a teacher teaches, they have to make it more emotionally engaging. So for example, a teacher that's telling her own personal story is going to stick more than the lecture that she's given. Do you see? So this is why stories stick with us, because they touch a nerve in us, a nerve of emotion. So learning, yeah, make it passionate, make it make it enjoyable, make it passionate, feel deeply about it. Yeah, emotion acts like a glue for memory. Okay, and then a few other things here. Repetition and spacing. So what does that mean? That means, and I've actually experienced this myself, whether it's with my Hindi, whether it's with some instrument, whether it's with art. So it means that you do it again and again, but give some space in between. Like when you let go of it and then come back to it, then you get better at it. This is really my experience. So again, if I'm to learn something, right, don't just try and cram it in, but try to say, okay, I want to step away from it. So you need that mental space, and somehow, I don't know what happens. Again, I don't know the dynamics of the brain, but somehow next time you come back, you will get better at it. And I've really seen this with my Hindi reading. It gets better every time I step away rather than, constantly focusing on it. Tell it and share it. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, I heard this many, many years ago, that if you have to share something that's being shared with others, say tomorrow or later, what's being taught to you, you are going to retain it more. So let's say my friend couldn't come to this lecture and she says, Aruna, can you go here and tell me what you heard? Then I'm more likely to retain it more. You see? So if you want to actually register it, I'm telling you, make sure you make a point of telling it to others or sharing it with others. And then as you share it, it will become clearer for you. And this is what happens, isn't it? We teach that what we need to learn. Then you know this, right? Break tasks into bite-sized steps. So whatever you need to learn, do it in segments, bite-sized, meaning whatever you can chew, whatever you can handle, manage. So don't try to take on everything at once. So if you do want to learn a language, if you do want to learn, public speaking, if you do want to learn, I don't know, cooking, knitting, whatever it is, try small steps and then build yourself up. And then persist and insist, but don't resist. So again, my experience with life, like if you really want to do something, you've really got to keep doing it. It's not just going to happen like that, right? So whatever it is. So I have persisted with my writing, and even at times when I felt I didn't want to write, but then I was writing because I felt that I was responsible for my blog and I had to get something out. So then I insisted on myself to get something out there. So don't resist means, don't give up on yourself so easily, and don't stop so easily. That's what I'm saying. You've got to keep at it. If you really want to learn something, you have to keep giving it that attention. And then it's so important to tie some learning tie learning to purpose and identity. So in other words, why would I do it? Why would I learn it? Like there has to be something personal about it. What am I getting from that? So tie the learning with your purpose, with your identity. So maybe it will make me a better person. Maybe in my case, it will make me a better yogi. And so that's why I want to learn every day more spiritual teachings. So tie in, because this is again human behavior, that unless I benefit from something, I won't do it. So you have to tie it in with something personal. Now, some of you might have heard of this next one, Kaizen. So this is literally, continuous improvement. So basically make small incremental improvement every day, no matter in what area of your life, even if it's like waking up early, going for a walk, or whatever it is, and that will compound into something bigger. So it's basically continuous learning through small changes, tiny improvements. So Kai meaning change, Zen meaning good, which literally means change for the better. Yeah, so it's not about being perfect, but it's about becoming better, a little better every single day. So for teaching, I just have one slide. And I have one slide because, okay, why I have only one slide? Because actually, I think in my heart of hearts, I don't really think you can teach anything. I think you can inspire, and I think you can walk along somebody, alongside somebody. But yeah, we teach. Okay, I might know something, I teach you how to do it. But really, at the end of the day, you have to want to learn it. So learning will always supersede the teaching. Anyway, I've got a few points here for the sake of it. So teaching, it's the art of inspiring understanding, curiosity, and continuous growth. So the fact that you are a good learner will make you a good teacher, right? So if I'm into the learning aspect of my life and I accept everything that life's throwing at me, then it will be easy for me to then share about it because I'm learning. So all I'm doing is sharing what I'm learning. So again, it's not that I'm teaching you, I'm just sharing it. Teaching is really by modeling. Again, we see a lot of this in the spiritual path, that nobody actually will listen to you unless you are walking the talk. So they look at how you speak or behave, or they learn from how you problem solve, handle mistakes, or handle things that go wrong, for example. So we have to model, right? If we're modeling that which we're teaching, then they'll learn. It's not that I say, okay, learn this from me. They will see and they will learn. So model what it is that you're trying to teach. Again, from my experience, particularly in the Middle East, teaching is really about relationship building. So one of the things that, we did a lot of in the Middle East is, we're just meeting friends and we are sharing what we know. And really, we're building that friendship when we're building that friendship of trust. And so with that, then I'm able to share what I need to share. And I say Middle East only because, I've spent so long there and it's a different culture. And they might think, who are you to teach me about peace, right? So then, we talk about it, but in a very open way. So it's not I've come to teach you about peace, but we are openly sharing our thoughts on peace. So that's what I mean about building that relationship of listening and learning as well. So that's why I've added the word love, because I hadn't added the word love anyway. So I thought, no, love is a big part of the teaching. If I really, firstly, love what I do, what I learn, then it'll be easy to pass that on with love. And then constantly, adapting, right? So if I want to be a good teacher, then I need to also learn to adapt to, look at the last 50 years. I'm sure teachers have adapted a lot. So I can't stay rigid and fixed in my views. I also have to adapt to well, ways of or methods of teaching, or even what is being taught. So I felt adaptability was very important when it came to teaching. Even nowadays, like I remember the way my mom taught us, I'm not sure that, this generation will learn in the same way that maybe parents were teaching then. So parents have to find another way to adapt, to teach. Creating motivation, right? Again, teachers, I think, have to create that, let's say, temptation in the child to want to learn. I think that is the job of the teacher. So, like, I remember my biology teacher, and he was good to us, me and a few other of my friends. And so he would then invite us. He would bring a special sheep's hearts for us to dissect, and that wasn't my thing. But, he was trying to motivate us into learning biology by, giving us that extra time, tuition, you might call it, or that extra opportunity. So, yeah, I mean, we enjoyed the lesson. I enjoyed the lessons, and I enjoyed the way he taught. But yeah, I'm not cutting a sheep's heart. That's not me. Then bringing clarity. Yeah, teacher's job is to actually bring clarity to whatever is the subject. So again, the teacher has to have a handle on what it is that they are sharing. So I need to get clear on what I'm sharing if I'm to share it with other people. So yeah, this is the point. And I think, yeah, there's a quote. So it's just a funny quote. So this guy, Edward Deming. So Edward Deming, yeah, as you see, was an American engineer. He was a professor, and he transformed how companies thought about the quality and improvement and change. And they call him the father of modern quality. And actually in Japan, they took on many of his theories, and that's how Japan came out of the Second World War. And then the rise of these companies like Sony, Panasonic, Toyota, etc. So they actually even have something called the Deming Prize for excellence, for companies that excel. So basically, he's saying it's not necessary to change because survival is not mandatory. So that's just another way of saying, that if I don't change, then I won't survive. Now, in order to change, I have to learn, right? I have to learn about the new change. So that's why I think this is a very cute quote to end on. That, really, and especially in this world and what's happening to the world, I need to find another way of living. Because so far, what I've been doing is not working. And maybe I keep giving myself excuses that, okay, this is how I am, this is how the world is, nothing ever changes. No, but there are different options, there are different mindsets, there are different choices, and really it's up to us how to adapt and adopt them. So I think, there are different ways of living. So that brings me to the end of this presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions or comments. Okay, so we'll stop there.
So wonderful. Thank you so much for taking us in the depth of how to learn as well. And also, as you showed me, you showed us quite a few important points. I was thinking about a few medical disorders, rather some psychiatric disorders. Psychiatry would become a very strong word. In pediatric age group, we see this called ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And you very nicely pointed out that there's nothing called multitasking about that person who told us, because that's what we advise the parents of children. that please make sure that there is off screen time, because she shouldn't be addicted to mobile phones. So that is about them, that we try to tell them 6 hours, 8 hours off mobiles, only maybe a few minutes or half an hour or something. So a question is, how do I, as maybe if I'm a normal person, obviously all of us feel we don't have ADHD, but the question is, how do I improve my attention span? Will meditation help? Obviously it will, but I wanted to know your thoughts on to improve attention span.
Yeah, like these subjects, like let's say increasing attention span. This morning we were talking about fear, like how to overcome fear, and literally you just have to do it. Like if you've had a car accident and then you're suddenly afraid, the next thing you should do is just get out there on the road in the car again, to overcome that fear. So likewise, I would say that if you want to increase your attention span, then there needs to, come out of meditation and then do it. I guess that's one way. But in meditation, we are creating that focused attention and then maybe slip from that into what it is that you need to learn immediately, so that you're carrying that kind of wavelength with you. But literally you have to. I don't think there's any shortcut way to learning something without you actually putting in the attention. In fact, just a couple of days ago, somebody was telling me that they can't meditate. And I said, but you seem to have love for God. And they said, yeah, I have love for God. And I said, you seem to love yourself. You have a lot of self-respect. They said, yeah, I have self-respect. Then I said, well, I think the answer is you're lazy. And he said, yeah, you might be right. So, yeah, if I've got a lazy intellect, I'll just won't do it. And then I'll think I can't do it. But have you tried? Give it a shot, right? So, yeah, we have to overcome this laziness or this feeling of inadequacy and just do it. Literally, like Nike slogan, just get on and do it. And of course, yeah, you get better and better at it, I think.
Yeah. And you very rightly mentioned, I'll take the one in the chat box later. We are taught in neurology that the neurons that fire together wire together. So that's what is emotion. And I think someone has said something in the chat box. Let me just take that. It's probably related to that, the question. So Joanna is, oh, it's a big question. I'll try to put it. The emotion of anger is really saying to the self that whatever is being expressed in that moment of being triggered, of getting triggered, that is really important to me. That's what you also mentioned. So this means to me that the feeling of anger is a huge flag of something that is very important to me. But the key is to not express it so that I can learn something I did not know. So then add more fire to the trigger by reacting. So really like this way of, so she's saying she likes this way of viewing something considered to be so negative. So I don't know whether I was able to convey the message, but it's a big. So coming to the emotion of anger, I mean, how do we take care of that emotion? I know it's good for learning, you said the emotions, but how to control anger?
So anger, yeah, anger is definitely an emotion that's coming to tell me something. It's a messenger, right? Anger, I'm feeling passionate about something, which is why I'm getting angry. All right, let's say, for example, even if somebody's coming late, why are you getting angry? Right? Let's say you're doing the talk, or you're not even doing the talk, but you happen to be there and somebody walks in late. What's it got to do with you? Why are you getting angry about it? So this is my issue. I have to look a bit deeper and I have to ask myself, well, is it about me respecting time? Is it that I don't like being late? Is it that I feel that it's a sign of disrespect? Then these are all my beliefs that I've created inside of me. So maybe the other person had very good reason to be late. But I've got to keep checking my emotion, why it's being triggered and where it's coming from. So it's good, as we say, anger is a messenger, but I've got to look at the message and not just get stuck with the messenger. And so the message might be, okay, well, learn to respect, learn to quieten, learn to respect, you know, I don't know, whatever it is for you, but you have to look at that message. And yeah, at the same time, when we talk about these emotions being fired, then what is the real emotion we want to feel? We want to really feel at peace. So peace and anger are at the opposite ends of the same spectrum. So in peace, I am able to control everything. But in anger, I'm not. I'm reactive. So all I need to do, it takes a lifetime. But in meditation, I'm shifting my consciousness to then managing myself. So now I'm not trying to control things outside of me. I've learned that I have to control myself. And therefore, then I calm myself down. So then you wouldn't say it's anger, right? Anger is always trying to control something outside of me. But now, because I've learned to control my inside, I'm not being so reactive. So then you create that new neural pathway. I think that's how it would work.
Of course, yes. So there's another quick question that a lot of people hesitate to start learning something new because they fear being a beginner again. So how do you personally overcome that early stage discomfort? She's asking.
Well, again, it's the mindset, isn't it? It's like being a child again. So what's wrong with that? Again, another thing I've been looking at lately is also my beliefs. And in some of my talks, you might have been hearing me talk about that. So I'm also looking at some of my beliefs and are they working for me or not? And I think I invite you to do the same. So you've got a belief that, oh, if I start again, maybe it looks like I'm being a child again or a novice again. But what's wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing. I can be a nobody in this moment and be humble to the learning. And that's okay. If somebody tells me not like this, I say, yeah, okay, fine, great. So what's wrong with that? So somewhere, yeah, I have to check my ego, why the ego doesn't want to learn, why the ego doesn't want to step into that learning mode. Yeah, what's happening? What's going on?
Perfect. And probably that's the reason also the proverb is that the day you feel that you know everything, you cease to exist. So therefore, it's a continuous learning. And
Yeah.
it reminds me of Dadi Janki. I think you should be sharing a few examples of hers because you have spent so much of time with her. So something related to learning and teaching, some experiences from her.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just went to Kuwait and they've got a photo framed of when Dadi's holding one of my books. She's reading my book. It's Time for Relationships. And that's just Dadi, classic Dadi, like, as you know, she'd pick up all these different magazines like Purity, Time Renewal. I think it's Time Renewal, something like that. World Renewal, yeah. And she'd want to know what's going on. I mean, she wants to learn. And there were so many times when we're in a gathering and she wants to hear from others. And we all want to hear from her. We don't want to hear each other. So this is Dadi. Yeah, she was always of that mindset to be open to the learning. I mean, I think some of you know when she went to India, she went after 40 years of living in the West. And she had to learn new things there. And she had to be accepted. So yeah, Dadi took on that challenge to learn.
And as it is said that at the age of 60 years, people retire, but Dadi started a new life there. She learned so many things. She never minded learning anything new.
No,
Right.
so now that you mentioned that, I'm reminded of when she took the bus. Dadi herself took the red bus. There was a photo of her getting onto the bus in her sari in those days when the back of the bus was open. So Dadi herself took the bus and she's going somewhere, I don't know where. So imagine at 60, and somebody doesn't even want to come on the plane. They're being put on the plane, they're being met here on the plane, and they're too afraid to do that. But Dadi came by herself, and then in Tennyson Road, and then if she had to go for service, she did that. at that age. Amazing. So there
And
she
that's,
is. Do you see
yeah,
her?
so I could see her right from the beginning. That actually invoked me to ask about her. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think GRC, we can't forget about her. Her presence was magnificent. She used to be there all the time over there. And in the interest of time, we have 4 minutes left. I know, but there's another question the sister is asking. I'll just take it. That how do you balance structured learning with courses, books, programs, and intuitive learning that comes from experiences? So, learning coming from experience or learning coming from courses and books. So, how do you balance that?
I don't know if I understand the question, but all I would say is I think it's going back to the root, and the root is the attitude to want to learn. It's cultivating an attitude of learning. So whether it's coming from this source or this source, it doesn't matter. But as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. So yeah, if I just say I'm ready, then learning can come from any corner and it's all good.
And as you rightly touched that, I must say, adult learning is all about unlearning and then relearning because we are sometimes so full of ourselves. I know everything, particularly in our medical field as well. We really attend all the updates. So they tell us, oh, you're a senior doctor. Why do you want to attend? No, it's not like that because it's a constantly evolving science. So we need to update ourselves. So unlearn and then. So thank you so much for jewels of wisdom on learning and teaching. And I knew you would not speak a lot on teaching because people don't like to hear about that. And all of us are actually learning. Yeah, we are students, actually. So
Yeah,
I'll request Anu to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Aruna. Really deep insights and methods. I think we learn, nevertheless, whether you like it or not like, we know it or not know it, we are learning. When we understand what is it giving to me, I think that inspiration has to be there. And if not, then we lose it. So, you connected with the self-respect, self-confidence, and also even that new neural pathway. It's like newness, freshness. It gives that energy of joy, I would say. So yeah, thank you very much. We all will, review it again, and also connected with the teaching is the that dimension that it is a practice. It is for me to practice what I have learned, and that expands my left it more. So it's a wonderful topic today. Thank you so much. And at the end, I think we'll have a meditation. First, we'll have a quick announcements. Over to you, Brother Manu.
So, Anu, and let me do the announcements. Right. So, as always, we have divided them into A, B, C, and D. Sister Aruna would be wondering what is this A, B, C, and D. So, just to tell you all that the B would be the next Saturday. It is the inner reflections on that particular art. So, the same art. And we have our seniors again. Sister Judy Johnson will be with us. This is the teamwork between her and Sister Deborah Castle, who have come up with the book of Arts for Life, and it will be next Saturday, same time, 29th November. We'll be advertising it soon and it will reach you all. And this is our elegant calendar for this month. Big thanks to Sister Kosha for designing that. And these are our websites and emails, both of them. So if you can please feel free to share your comments, feedbacks, and any queries about all these programs to us. And just stop sharing the scene. And quickly, before we go on to the meditation, it's a request that people want to be photographed with the speaker. So if I can request Sister Anu to take the photograph and all of you to open your video cameras. Yeah, thank you.
Please open your camera so that you don't miss this very memorable moment. Anyone else? Few more seconds for you to open your video. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I got the vote.
So let's go into the meditation mode now. Over to Sister Aruna. Thank you.
Thank you. So just sit comfortably. Take a deep breath. And so right now, I turn to my inner world, my world of thoughts and feelings. And firstly, I ask myself, what's the feeling? Right now, what is the feeling? And then I say to myself, can I improve on this feeling? What would be a more higher state of feeling? And now just try to be in that feeling. That feeling that makes you feel good, that gives you a sense of your self-respect, makes you feel empowered. Maybe for some it's calm, for some it's peace, for some it's joy. And so from this place of strength, I'm going to go out into the world and see what it is that I need to learn. From this empowered state, I face the world. And I'm totally open for the learning. So stay on your seat of self-respect with your shield of self-respect and face the world. And there can only be good. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much once again for your wisdom and your company.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week. Thank you. Thank you so much, sister.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.